This is the other thing I wanted to react to. I've been a good person. I've not been watching the Fat Electrician when he drops new videos because I've been trying to react to them. Being a good person, it's driving me insane. Okay, I really like watching his stuff. I like giving him a lot of support because he's super educational, super funny. Thoroughly enjoy it. Also, a very smart businessman. But yeah, we're going to be checking out. Pepsi had more warships than some nations, allegedly. So we're going to check this one out. This is a Fat Files. So that means not main channel, the secondary channel, which, you know, he hit 1 million subs on this in like 18 hours. It was he speed ran a gold plate. Just saying. Anyways, let's check this one out.
For a brief period of time, Pepsi had the 6th largest navy in the world. No, it didn't. Today we're talking about the famous internet meme that has been sent to me at least 10,000 times that during the Cold War, Pepsi traded a bunch of soda to the Soviet Union. In exchange, the Soviet Union paid with naval warships, and for a brief period...
Hold on. Pepsi 1989. We accept Visa, MasterCard, American Express, decommissioned Soviet. I'm on the wrong side. Hold on. Decommissioned Soviet warships. That's funny.
Naval warships, and for a brief period of time, Pepsi supposedly had the 6th largest navy on the planet. I don't believe you! Now, to be completely honest, a couple of years ago when I first had this meme sent to me, I immediately started looking into it, and I was like, this is going to be a Fat Electrician video because this is right up my alley. This is my whole thing. And it took me about an hour to come to the unfortunate, heartbreaking conclusion that the meme was basically over-exaggerated nonsense, so I never made the video. But then last week on this channel, Fat Files, we busted the internet myth or the internet meme that mattress stores are just a giant front for laundering money, and I had so much fun, I decided I'd do it again. And this meme...
Hey Karma, we'll be gaming probably in a little bit, but we're just doing our reacts. So we just reacted to the 40th anniversary video that Toei put out for Dragon Ball, which also introduced or told us that we're getting a new Dragon Ball Super series, and now we're reacting to the Fat Electricians Fat Files about Pepsi had more warships than some nations, allegedly. Goddamn. Outsider.
Immediately came to mind. So I went back and I started researching again, and what I found out is that there is a small nugget of truth inside of this meme, but the meme as a whole is actually a small nugget inside of a much larger story. And that story is an epic saga of how an American soda company undermined the Soviet Union, one of the leading powers in the world, literally for decades, culminating in their grand finale of creating the funniest, most demoralizing commercial of all time. And we're gonna get into it right after a word from our sponsor.
Oh no.
This video is brought to you by Supremacy World War III, a free PvP online strategy-based game where you can play against up to 99 other people. You get to pick any country you want and then set up on your mission of world domination. Okay, personally, I'm picking the United States every single time because, well, to be honest with you, I enjoy winning. And then the funnest part is deciding who to attack first. I like to base all my stuff off of current events. Last month, I was attacking Iran first. This month, I'm attacking Greenland first. And then I get to watch Germany get confused and invade Poland for no fucking reason. And they just came out with the...
Oh. That's a good one.
Officers update where you can unlock war legends that add buffs to all of your other units. So go check it out, it's free to play, and if you use my link down below in the next 30 days, you're gonna unlock a free elite railgun unit. Let's get back to the video. Our story begins in 1959. World War II has ended. The Korean War has also started and ended. America is now practicing containment doctrine. Basically, America is taking a vow to prevent the further spread of communism. And that goal has gotten extremely more difficult and complicated because now the Soviet Union has acquired nuclear weapons thanks to atomic spies like Klaus Fuchs and the Rosenbergs. Because obviously the communists...
I'm going to say this. So one of the reasons I don't is... This is usually how I watch all of like the Fat Electrician and all my stuff is on Pepperbox, which I pay for. I pay $9 a month for Pepperbox. But there are things like I can't show some of these because some of these are exclusive behind paywalls. Can't react to the behind the paywall ones. Just showcasing this because I love this and it has a whole bunch of people I watch, and I even have them being the middle screen right here saved over here too. So I thoroughly enjoy it. I thoroughly enjoyed it having this. This is normally where I watch stuff, but should be kind and give the ad revenue, you know.
Couldn't figure out how to make a nuclear warhead on
But
their
I
own
should.
because while communists can't really figure out how to do anything on their own, all they can ever do is steal intellectual property and then make cheap knockoffs and sell them on wish.com.
He's not wrong.
With the exception of the AK. The AK is pretty dope. I'll give them that. But that's one thing, okay? And it took an American to make it in 50 caliber, okay? And that guy's running for Congress.
You're goddamn right.
The world has essentially split down the middle. You have America
Oh, good old Brandon. I hope he wins District 23 down in Texas.
and NATO on one side and the USSR and the Warsaw Pact on the other side. The world is divided. The Cold War is at its peak, and we are at the height of McCarthyism with the Red Scare. America is terrified of going into nuclear war and the communists coming to get them. But also, Stalin died recently, so everybody's just kind of like, what if we didn't go to nuclear war and blow up the entire planet? I mean, that'd be kind of cool, right? Maybe we should try to get along. So in 1959, in an effort to make that happen, America and the USSR decided to have a cultural exchange. Basically, it was like an agreement to have a trade show. Basically, like the Soviets were going to grab a bunch of their communist-made bullshit, they were going to bring it over to America, set up a trade show, and show it off to a bunch of Americans, and vice versa. America was going to grab a bunch of their awesome shit that capitalism made, they're going to take it over to the USSR, and they were going to show it off to all the communists. So when America sets up their trade show, they're bringing over all their best shit. They're putting their best foot forward. They're bringing over the best American cars. The Soviets are over here. They're used to seeing the Volga, the most popular car in the Soviet Union in 1959, which, to be completely honest, I thought was part of the female reproductive system until right now.
It's not some Toyota clitoris.
No. And then we've got America showing up with the 1959 Chevy Impala, which is gorgeous and objectively better in every single way. The Soviets
The Impala
used the
was
architecture, the ugliest,
beautiful.
most disgusting, soulless architecture mankind has ever come up with. Cool. We're gonna grab a house from a suburban neighborhood in America and we're gonna bring it over to the USSR and show it off. And then we're gonna cut it in half and split it open so everybody can get a nice big view of how awesome our houses are. And because we split the house in half, we're gonna call it Splitnik. Get it? Sputnik, Splitnik. That's fucking funny. And then obviously we're gonna bring over a ton of different food, which is something the commies don't know anything about at all.
So you guys can see what it says. God, he's... I keep forgetting how much Nick hates communism, and it's hilarious. I love it.
And one of the food vendors that we brought over was Pepsi. And I know what you're thinking, why would we bring Pepsi? Why didn't they bring Coke? Well, from what I was able to find, they tried to bring Coke first, but Coke declined because they didn't want to associate with commies, which... based. Didn't know I could like Coke any more than I already do, but here we are. So Pepsi shows up, and Pepsi is like, okay, this is a great opportunity. Maybe we can pierce the Iron Curtain. We can get into the USSR and open up this new market that no American company has access to, and we can become the official beverage of the USSR, and we'll make billions and billions of dollars. It's a brilliant plan. I mean, maybe. I find it hard to believe that becoming the official soda of the USSR would be a good plan, but I mean, we'll see what happens.
They've done studies, 60% of the time, it works
Every time. Subsea.
Doesn't make sense.
Is a problem.
Placement. The head of the
That doesn't make sense.
So Nikita Khrushchev shows up, Stalin's replacement, the head of the USSR. He's walking around this trade show and he's talking shit the
Oh, look,
entire
there's
time.
the
Right?
dick.
He's looking at all of America's cool cars, all the food,
I mean,
the houses.
that was
He's
Richard
looking at
Nixon.
everything, and he sees it as just one big psyop. Like, America can't be doing this well. They're clearly putting their best foot forward, trying to demoralize the Soviet people. So he's just going through the whole trade show, pretending to be unimpressed, talking shit the entire time. And of course, he's walking around the trade show with America's highest ranked
nice.
delegate there. Obviously, America's not going to send the president of the United States over to the Soviet Union because they just kidnap his ass, and they're not going to send Nikita Khrushchev over to America, so they just send a high-ranking person, and that high-ranking person is the vice president at the time, Richard Nixon. Eventually, Nixon gets tired of Khrushchev talking shit, and they get into a little bit of a heated debate, an argument, basically a
yes,
shit-talking
this would
contest
sort.
between the two of them in the kitchen inside of the demonstration house, and this is referred to as the kitchen debate. So they're having this little shit-talking contest in the middle of this kitchen, and the executive from Pepsi, Donald Kendall, sees his opportunity. He's got a plan. He's going to get a picture of Nikita Khrushchev drinking a Pepsi, and that picture is going to go viral. Then everybody in the USSR is going to want to drink it, and that's how they're going to break in and pierce that Iron Curtain, which is going to be way more difficult than it sounds because remember, Nikita Khrushchev doesn't want to look impressed at anything. He wants everything to be shitty. So A, he's probably not going to sample any food, and even if he did, he's definitely not going to give it a good review. But Donald Kendall's got a plan. He's going to show up right at the end of this heated debate with an ice-cold, refreshing beverage, and he's going to finesse a good review out of Nikita Khrushchev. How's he going to do it? He's going to show up with 2 cups of Pepsi, one for Nikita Khrushchev, and the other one also for Nikita Khrushchev. So when Donald Kendall rolls up with both of his Pepsis and gives both of them to Nikita Khrushchev, he's like, Mr. Khrushchev, I wanted you to try an ice cold refreshing Pepsi. This one is made with water from America, and this one we made since we got here with water from the USSR. Which one do you like more?
Tasty.
Okay, do you understand what just happened? It's beautiful. Now Nikita Khrushchev is backed into a
He just conned. That's a con if I've ever heard one. Holy shit. That's a good con. I'm gonna lie. You made this with America and why do this with USSR, Rob? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
corner because if he's going to give a bad review to Pepsi that's made with water from the great USSR, he's talking shit about his own home country. He can't do that. So he's forced to try them both and then say that the one from the USSR is fantastic. Gotcha, bitch. And then, of course, while he's taking a drink, they make sure to get pictures. We've got the before and the after. Here's the before, moments away, seconds away from success. Look at Donald Kendall in his white pimp suit. That is a man who knows his plan is about to come together. And then we've got the after. Look at the smile on Nikita Khrushchev's face, tasting capitalism for the first time. It's beautiful. These pictures go viral, and Pepsi becomes the mythical drink of capitalism that can bring a tear to even a communist leader's eye. So now people in the USSR, they want to try Pepsi. They want to be able to drink it. But the problem is they can't really buy it because the Soviet Union uses the ruble, which isn't really recognized by anybody outside of the Soviet Union. So even if Pepsi did go in there and sell a bunch of Pepsi, they could only get paid in rubles, which aren't good anywhere else in the world. So the entire thing would be worthless. And before Pepsi and the USSR can figure out some kind of alternative deal, the Cold War ramps up a ton. The nuclear arms race is going on. Nobody's doing any business with the USSR. It's looking like we're going into nuclear war. So it's not going to happen. Okay, great. Fast forward like 13 years. Richard Nixon is now the president and Donald Kendall is now the CEO of Pepsi. Richard Nixon is trying to de-escalate the entire Cold War. Basically, we've spent the last 20 years making as many nuclear bombs as possible and coming up with a bunch of ridiculous creative
Yes, the nuclear war, the Cold War, where if someone had sneezed wrong, there wasn't going to be a planet left. Let's be honest. If someone sneezed wrong, there wasn't going to be a planet left. Not that much. Okay, sorry.
ways to put them on our enemies' foreheads, and it's getting out of hand because now America and the USSR both have enough nukes to end the world 10 times over. So Nixon works out a deal with the USSR called SALT I, the Strategic Arms Limitation Talks, and basically it puts a cap on how many nukes each country can have and how many methods of deploying them they can have. Basically, we both have enough nukes to blow up the entire planet. Why are we making more? Let's just put a stop to this and accept the fact that either one of us could get pissed off and flip the entire board game over whenever we wanted. And this signals to American businesses and the rest of the world, really, that America is trying to work with the Soviet Union again. Cue the CEO of Pepsi, Donald Kendall, sauntering back into the equation. So he comes in, immediately starts trying to work a deal, right? This is an enormous untapped market. If he can get in there, he'll absolutely crush. He knows that. But the problem is, Soviet Union still has the ruble. It's still worthless everywhere outside of the Soviet Union.
Sir, this is just monopoly money.
So the Soviets literally don't have any money to pay for the Pepsi with. So what do you do when you want something, but you don't have money? You trade. Okay, well, what do the Soviets have? Vodka. And obviously the Soviet Union isn't allowed to export and sell their vodka in the United States because the United States doesn't do business with the USSR because, you know, sanctions and whatnot, political nonsense. So obviously this plan of being allowed to sell Soviet vodka in the United States of America on Pepsi's behalf is a pretty tall ask for the US government. Luckily, Donald Kendall helped this politician campaign and win his office, and that politician's name is, let me check my notes, Richard Nixon, the fucking president.
Somebody's more important. Freddie, can you keep the riffraff out of here? The riffraff out of here?
And now they're homies and have been since the 1959 trade show 13 years ago. So Donald Kendall goes over to his homeboy, the president, and is like, hey, if I give the Soviet Union a bunch of concentrated Pepsi syrup so they can bottle it over in the USSR and make soda, and they pay me with Russian vodka, can I turn around and sell that in the US marketplace and Pepsi keeps all the money? To which Richard Nixon and the rest of the American government is probably like, so let me get this straight. You want to be able to sell Russian vodka in the U.S. marketplace, and that money is going to stay in the U.S. marketplace. Pepsi is going to keep that money, and in exchange, you're going to give the Soviets diabetes. Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead. Boom. Deal made. Pepsi goes on to become the first American product sold inside the USSR, the first American company to pierce the Iron Curtain. Okay, and this is the mythical capitalist drink that they've been wanting for the past 10 years since the 1959 trade show. It becomes outrageously popular. So that's the deal. Pepsi sells the Pepsi concentrate to the USSR. They take it to their own bottling plants. They make Pepsi. They sell it. They have the licensing to market it as Pepsi. In exchange, they get a bunch of Soviet-made vodka. They turn around. They sell it in the US. They make their money. Everybody's happy. The plan works. Right up until it doesn't. By 1989, you got to remember, Pepsi is essentially operating inside the USSR with a monopoly. Everybody's drinking fucking Pepsi, whereas on the other side, where they're trying to sell vodka, there's competition for alcohol. There's beer, whiskey, there's probably other vodka brands, right? They're not selling as much vodka as they are Pepsi, which means Pepsi's not making enough money, so they've got to figure out some other way to barter with the USSR to get the value from all the Pepsi they're sending over there. And this is where the warships come in, okay? According to the internet meme, Pepsi then trades a bunch of Pepsi over to the USSR in exchange for 20 Soviet warships, 17 submarines, 1 cruiser, 1 frigate, and 1 destroyer. And then they eventually sell it off to be scrapped, and that's how they get their money. But for a brief period in time, Pepsi had the 6th biggest navy on the planet.
I don't believe you.
Okay, no, it's not. I did the rough tonnage on 17 submarines, a cruiser, a frigate, and a destroyer, and I checked. It would not be in the top 10 for 1989. Honestly, I'd be shocked if it was even in the top 20. And that's if you're being generous enough to call 20 scrapped vessels a viable navy, which it's not. B, that's also just not what happened. Okay, there's a bunch of other YouTube videos about this. They all seem to have a different version of what happened or how this went down. Some of them say what the meme said. Some of them have a little bit different critique, whatever. I don't think any of them are right from all the other videos that I watched. They all just appear to be citing each other, citing the meme, or citing random blog posts that they found. So I went through scouring newspaper articles from all across the United States.
And this is Nick's autism. Once he goes, no, I'm going to find out what the truth is. He finds the truth. He digs. He will dig like there's no tomorrow.
States of America from 1989 till 1995, and here's what I found. Pepsi did not trade concentrated sugar syrup to the USSR for 20 warships. At no point did Pepsi have ownership over these warships. What they did is they brokered a three-way deal with a Norwegian shipyard, and they basically had the same exact proposal that they had with the US government. They approached Norway and they were like, hey, if we convince the USSR to turn over a bunch of their warships to you for scrap, and in exchange you give me a bunch of money and then I give them diabetes, would that be okay with you? And the Norwegian government is like, cool, that's great. So the Soviet Union turned over 20 warships to a Norwegian scrap company. They went, they picked up the warships. Pepsi had no ownership of them at any point in time. And then the Norwegian company gave Pepsi a bunch of money.
Yes! Yes! Can you feel that, buddy? Huh?
Now, a bunch of American newspapers started reporting
Oh
this.
God, it did not. Hold on. I gotta keep moving. This is what it was showing. Conspiracy YouTubers. The Fat Electrician headquarters.
Now, a bunch of American newspapers started reporting this. They made the story very confusing, so I see why some people do think America had the 6th largest navy on the planet at some point in time, even though that is incorrect. So once people got that impression, they also started to get conflicting feelings like, hey, I don't know if a soda company should be getting involved in international arms deals involving gigantic naval fleets of warships, to which, you know, pretty understandable sentiment. Pepsi doubles down. They come out with a press statement saying the US government's just mad that we're making them look bad because we're de-arming the Soviets faster than they can. Okay, the plan worked. Pepsi's like, holy shit, it actually worked. We made a ton of money. We've got a monopoly over there. How can we exploit this to make even more money, knowing that we can sell Russian ships and get a ton of cash? Pizza Hut. We own Pizza Hut. Pepsi owns Pizza Hut. Let's start putting Pizza Huts inside the USSR.
Diabetes.
So Pepsi goes back to the USSR and they're like, hey, we know you guys like bread. You're standing in line all the time for it. How would you feel about a big flat piece of bread with some marinara sauce, some cheese, and some toppings on it? It's called pizza. It's fantastic. The USSR is interested. They're listening. They want Pizza Hut. They also want more Pepsi. Pepsi is like, okay, here's the deal. You want pizza, you want Pepsi. We're going to need some money. Your money is basically garbage. It's worthless everywhere. It's monopoly money, so we're going to need you to give us more ships, and then we'll sell them for actual money. To which the USSR is like, well, we don't have any ships to give up right now, but we do have a pretty big ship manufacturing infrastructure. How about we build you 10 brand new oil tankers worth $1 billion, and then you start throwing up Pizza Huts inside the USSR? To which Pizza Hut is like, sounds great. And that happens in 1990. The Soviet Union gets to work building their oil tankers, and they start throwing up Pizza Huts all over the USSR and slinging Pepsi all over the place. Okay, side note, this is part of the story that drives me absolutely nuts. Like, if this was a movie, I would be watching the movie being like, this plot line is stupid. That wouldn't happen in real life. This would have happened instead. You know, one of those moments where it's like, why didn't Gandalf just have the giant eagles fly the hobbits to the volcano and save the world in like 20 minutes? One of those. Why don't the Soviets just steal the recipe for Pepsi? Like, I don't understand. Like, don't get me wrong, stealing intellectual property is wrong. You shouldn't do it. But also, like, they fucking stole nuclear secrets. Like, they've already crossed that line. I don't understand, like, the moral code of, I'm willing to steal nuclear technology to build nukes to end the planet, but
not pizza.
Stealing a Pepsi recipe is crossing the line. Like, just steal the recipe and make your own. They're already giving it to you. Give it to your fucking scientists. Have them figure out what's in the shit and make your own. Like, communists are dumb. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. Anyways.
In Fat Electrician every single time.
Now, obviously,
I think I'm good, and then he comes out, he just hits with something.
Like, you know, more than a year. And guess what happens in 1991? The Soviet Union collapses, and overnight, what was one nation with one government fractures into 15 separate nations with 15 separate
exactly.
all with 15 different sets of laws and rules. And this is a logistical horror story because Pepsi and Pizza Hut's entire supply chain, the manufacturing and the distributing, one night was all in one country. It was all perfect. It was set up, ready to go. It was a fine-tuned machine. And then overnight, it's now spread out across 15 different countries, and all those different countries want different shit.
It's a bummer, man. That's a bummer.
right? Like the factory that makes all the bottles
It
for the
said
Pepsis
Pepsi.
in Lithuania, but the Lithuanians now want to be paid up front in hard cash before they're willing to let go of the bottles, and then they have to figure out how to import the bottles from Lithuania to this new country called Belarus, and the only way to go from A to B is to bribe people on the road, all the government officials from the government that just got stood up 8 hours ago. It's a complete nightmare. And that's going on a humongous scale across 15 different countries, and if that wasn't bad enough, all of the ship manufacturing capacity where the oil tankers are being built is in Ukraine, and the Ukrainians are like, I'm not fucking turning over $1 billion worth of oil tankers so you can buy bottles from a bunch of Lithuanians. That's your fucking problem. So now Pepsi is absolutely screwed. They're up a creek without a paddle. Like, if they don't get these ships, they've already invested a ton of money in all these Pizza Huts. They've been giving them Pepsi. Like, they're gonna lose their ass on this deal if they can't figure this out. They tell this to the Ukrainians, and the Ukrainians are like, okay, fine. We'll finish the ships. We'll give them to you. You can sell them for $1 billion, but we need you to reinvest a bunch of that money back into the new Ukrainian economy. And Pizza Hut's like, oh, okay, I'm listening. What do you want? We're gonna need like 100 Pizza Huts and at least 5 Pepsi plants because this shit's fucking awesome.
That's the best I could do.
I mean,
So essentially what I'm getting here is Pepsi was so good and they wanted to give them Pizza Hut. It was like so good that it helped collapse the USSR. So Pepsi inadvertently helped end the Cold War. I'm reading that right? I mean, is yay diabetes? Yeah, seriously.
it's going to cost like $300 million to make all those factories and all those Pizza Huts, but like they have no other choice. Plus, they'll also have the factories and Pizza Huts, so they'll be making revenue down the road. They're securing an audience like, all right, best deal we're going to get, we'll take it. And while all this is going on, while Pepsi's running around 15 different nations trying to piece together their business that was shattered into a million pieces, guess what happens? Coca-Cola comes in with their abundance of cash and starts marketing all over the place, and it takes off because they have the perfect setup, right? Like Pepsi was banking on, I was here first, I'm ingrained in the culture, they've already developed a habit of drinking Pepsi, they're gonna choose me over Coke. Finally, I'll have an audience that likes Pepsi more than Coca-Cola. Not what happened at all. The Soviets view it as like, oh, Pepsi's the backup string quarterback that they were willing to sell to the commies, and Coca-Cola was the good shit that they were hoarding for themselves. So then everybody starts drinking Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola becomes the #1 soda in what was the USSR. Okay, and that's the moral of the story. Don't do business with communists. Pepsi did that. Look what happened to Pepsi. But then, in 1997, Pepsi turns it around and completely redeems themselves. Okay, I don't know who's responsible
I'll go with
for
you
it,
on
but
that,
some
Kirita.
diabolical genius, some red-blooded
In a minute.
American had the best idea on the planet. What if we could get Gorbachev, the last leader of the USSR, to do a fucking Pizza Hut commercial? Oh, and it happens. It's poetry. It's the most ironic, beautiful shit on the planet. This would be like if the Soviet Union won, America collapsed, and they somehow convinced Ronald Reagan to do a commercial for the Labia or whatever that stupid, ugly-ass Soviet car was called. Okay, literally the leader of the ideology of communism, and America rolls up and is like, cool, yeah, just put the fries in the bag, nerd. Everybody likes to talk about what they would do if they got a time machine. I'm telling you right now, the first thing I'm doing is I'm grabbing that video, I'm going back in time, I'm gonna show Karl Marx, Lenin, Stalin, how all this shit ends, and then I'm gonna die of dehydration from pissing myself laughing so hard. In conclusion, nobody out pizza's a hut, motherfucker. Thanks for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch over the Fat Electrician, try some Echelon, all that's available at thefatelectrician.com.
Hey, Echelon.
Bang.
Echelon's really good.
I'm having so much fun. Give me more stupid memes to investigate.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh, Nick's gonna find more memes and it's gonna be bad. Oh no. Oh no. What have we created? We've created a monster. We've created a monster. He's going after the memes now. Not only does he have a chokehold on World War II history, but he's going after the memes, guys. He's going after the memes. Yeah, that was the Fat Electrician. The Fat Files specifically. Pepsi had more warships than some nations, allegedly. So, oh my, so good. I haven't even don't say I've watched that. I haven't watched that one yet. On my